find out if he's going to be able to manage to lock the right champion this time.
I have to look. I'm sure
if you go 0 for 2, then it's spelling the problem.
I think at that point you just like you only get one mulligan, right? You have to just take the pick. Too bad you're getting Xayah now.
He's like, sorry, Mash, gotta play that AD carry.
He's just maybe really like Sarah. I don't know. Well, there's the Elise. All right. I was hoping an arrow would be like directly behind him, making sure he picks
He's just
pick.
holding the mouse.
He's got the mechanics. There we go. Xayah Rakan for EchoFox. That looks a little more sensible.
All right, so they are going to be bringing out the Lovers bot lane. And it is pretty strong. One of the real big strengths, if you guys aren't familiar with Xayah and Rakan, is simply when you pop the Xayah W for that attack speed, the attack speed also goes over onto the Rakan. It gives you a lot of strength at level 1 for that early push. It's very, very difficult to contest, and actually means you can pretty much always get the level 2 and perhaps threaten.
Yep. And there's Syndra and Ashe actually for Envy. So going back to, I think, more of the things that have worked for them in their win against Cloud9 yesterday. LirA, of course, on an aggressive jungler. I mean, you can pick about any of them, but this one makes sense for him. And Ashe for Apollo, it's not as standard as it used to be, but it's certainly a champ that seems to fit what Envy are trying to do, as it looks like Corki is the last pick there. For EchoFox in the mid lane for Damonte.
So I actually do really like the early picks here for Envy. I think that all 3 of these picks can actually put a lot of threat onto the Corki and the Xayah, who are relatively short range as far as the AD carries go. You know, they kind of have to get in your face. They want to brawl. Yes, there are some ways to avoid that. You know, there are CCs such as the Ashe on the Scatter of the Week and stuff, but if you're unable to do that, it can be pretty problematic. And it feels like whoever engages first is going to be kind of having a big advantage, right? Because at the same time, Ashe has pretty low mobility. So is Syndra. And Rakan has very powerful engage. So if you can actually preempt that and get the engage onto their immobile carries, that could be really good. But at the same time, there's so much engage, so much pick already for Envy with Ashe Arrow, Syndra stun, Cocoon from Elise. And if you get hit by any of that, you're probably dead.
Well, fresh from the phase 2 bans for EchoFox, as Not and Gragas join in there, man.
I wonder if that's a troll. Yeah, okay.
Having some fun. Just hovering the Xayah. Unless some real shenanigans are happening, which I very much doubt. Looks like he's just having some fun with, you know, top laner. As there's a Nunu pick actually for Akaadian.
All right, so Nunu was actually the pick, even though they locked it in the wrong order last time. And that's going to be interesting for Akaadian. We have not seen him play this yet, I do believe. Has been doing very well in the NA LCS. I know we saw Contract play earlier in the season. We've been seeing Shrimp actually bring it out a number of times. And I think that the tank med is exceptionally strong. It makes a lot of sense also. In combination with these double AD carries, you have 2 very good Blood Boil targets for that Nunu. You also can do some stuff. I don't know that we're really going to see it, but you can actually go Stoneborn Pact and get an Ardent Sensor. And when you slow people, they get Ardent Sensor from hitting that person because you actually get the Stoneborn Pact heal.
Yep.
So I don't know that we'll actually see it. I really doubt it, but it is one of those cool interactions, and I've actually seen Nunu support even be somewhat effective in situations like that.
Yep, hit him with the old Flash Absolute Zero. Everybody gets an Ardent Sensor, as looks like Tahm, Kench, and Jarvan round out Envy's draft. And last pick, Shen for Brandini. Certainly a champion that is seeing some play, but is not nearly as good as it used to be.
So the Tahm Kench coming in to kind of deny the Rakan engage, that does make some sense there. But besides the Rakan, there's not like a tremendous amount of engage in CC that you're super worried about there, so it does kind of make your lane a fair bit weaker. But they are obviously concerned that Ashe and Syndra, who are relatively low mobility, could get picked off. So that is going to be the answer. We'll give up some of their laning power in exchange for kind of power later. One of the concerns I do have for EchoFox's draft is I think that their top side 2v2 is so much weaker with the Nunu and the Shen versus Jarvan and Elise, and Shen can kind of be abused in some of these laning matchups. If Elise and J4 can actually put Brandini behind on the Shen, things can look pretty ugly.
Certainly can. I mean, I think those last 2 bans for Envy are actually really good, taking away kind of the obvious choice that you would have wanted. Gragas kind of that big tank, and in Mega Nar form, also a great frontliner. So I like what Envy have kind of done here to navigate to this spot. Certainly a team comp that they can do a lot of work with.
I mean, I've got to say though, like, EchoFox must have specifically wanted Shen, because they actually had first pick in the 2nd round. They locked a Nunu there. The other team already had a jungle, right? It's not like Nunu was going to get taken away. You could have taken the J4 if you actually wanted that, if you were concerned about the matchup. So yes, they did get pushed down, but they actually opted into this matchup. They chose this matchup, so we'll see how they're going to be able to perform on it.
We'll have to see us out onto the rift for our 2nd bout between Envy and EchoFox. EchoFox up after a very smooth game 1. We'll see if they run into any bumps on road to a sweep, or if Envy going to tie it up. It is so odd to see the league be a little wild as far as results go. C9 losing to EnVyUs yesterday. And EnVy now struggling against EchoFox, who have had also some up and down results recently. So it does feel like the middle of the league is very much in flux. And if that's true, then it is very important to pick up wins now, because there are only 3 weeks left after this one to get wins and push towards playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And for a lot of these teams, I mean, making it to playoffs is really your only hope of getting to Worlds, right? Not many teams have enough championship points kind of stocked up to ensure that they can get to the gauntlet. You need to have success now if you want to reach that kind of ultimate goal of representing NA at Worlds.
Well, everyone just kind of fanning out here. Very defensive setup. There's just some giggles happening. It is kind of funny to me that I mentioned that Akaadian and Greek do strike me as the 2 differing styles on the team, and that you could definitely see a mix-up, and then they sub him into playing Nunu of all champions. I mean, when you're thinking of bringing a specialist off the bench, which makes sense, bringing different styles, wouldn't really have pegged Akaadian as the Nunu main. No,
definitely not, at least for the start of his career. But to be fair to him, he talked about, if you watch the Drive special, he's talked about the fact that he was too much of a player who played for himself, for his own success, to be that carry and try to take over the game. And he's realized that you need to be able to play for the team. You need to be able to do what is best for the team. And Nunu is certainly a champion that personifies that. It is playing for the team. Yes, you can be successful on your own, but you are a force multiplier, right? Like, Nunu can smash an early game, counter jungle every camp he wants. If your lanes are losing, you're force multiplier on nothing, right?
Yep.
So it's very much about enabling your teammates.
It's his penance, perhaps. Has to play Nunu for 4 straight LCS
This is the punishment.
Did go Stonebomb pack, by the way, so could see some fun interactions there. We'll see if he goes all the way deep on the sensor, but we'll have to find out later. In the meantime, 2v2 has already begun. You mentioned that quick push from Mash and Gate is in effect here with these 2 specific champions, but Hakuho and Apollo first to the punch.
Yeah, and because they were kind of slower to get to lane, they did a bit of a longer leash, and there's actually the Targons on Hakuho. He was able to get those executes, and nice hawkshot actually spots us out. LirA is here with double buffs.
Time to invade. There's some damage down onto Nunu. Thunderlord's already proccing.
He's dead, I think.
Yeah, red buff.
No, okay.
Gonna force the flash, but LirA gonna get a second red buff here. That's a 3 buff there for EnVy.
Yeah, really nice from LirA. He could have tried to actually chase and follow that for the kill, but decides to take the safer option. He gets the guaranteed summoner and takes away that buff, and now looking towards mid lane. If Damonte gets poked down too low, you have to be scared of LirA coming over this wall.
That was an insanely aggressive jungle rat as well from LirA. Kind of just looking at what camps are left up. Brandini just get a taunt onto Seraph also under the turret, so Seraph forced to burn flash in the 1v1 there.
Yeah, that's a bit sloppy. You have to always respect that. Like, sometimes you can get a bit overconfident when you're laning against a Shen, because out in the middle, it's so easy to actually bully him oftentimes. But anytime you get near that turret, you have to show the respect that he can taunt you up, because you are going to get slammed in the early game if you take any turret shots. Akaadian now is behind.
Gonna gank, and there's the start already onto Gate. Knock up onto Hakuho, and Akaadian here with the snowballs in. Just gonna keep slapping away. Hakuho forced to flash a heal burn from Apollo. Exhaust also used. EnVy used everything and barely get away.
Apollo canceling like 3 autos in a row there because of the Nunu snowball. That can be rough to deal with when you have no attack speed early on. And they do get 3 summoners out of that gank, so well done by Akaadian to actually be able to get something done despite the really rough early start that he was put into from LirA.
And again, we've always seen EnVy's duo perform well in the early game, so nice for Akaadian to move down and disrupt some of that. Back cancel as well there by Hakuho. Gate happy to stay in lane for a little while longer and at least guide this wave in, but they can probably stay if they want to.
Canceling that base was actually pretty nice as well, simply because it means that they're not going to have this kind of skewed back timing where they come back with the BF sword and you have to base at this awkward spot. So Apollo is going to have a chance to kind of farm it out, and they should be able to equalize the farm and the wave pretty easily before they do head back. They're actually looking to step forward and interrupt those bases again. So EchoFox, maybe not really concerned about it, but when you do go for the greedy back, it's so easy to interrupt at times.
Yep, well, nice there from EnVy again, kind of keeping that lane afloat. Have to be careful for any more extra Nunu attention, but Akaadian off farming once again. LirA also already finished his first shop. Looks like Tracker's knife there for Akaadian, so full on early support, and LirA kind of the opposite, full on map pressure.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to get out there. He wants the gank. When you go for this route, you are essentially saying what you want to do because you do not go Mobies to farm. It is absolutely awful. You need to be making plays. You need to be moving around the map. And he's going to try to look for the Nunu and fight him, look for ganks. And, you know, Brandini in a situation like this has to be careful because he can get chased down.
Ooh, barely missing the knockup for Seraph. LirA, that was a great timing and a good little bait from Seraph over on the wall, but instead LirA going to have to settle for some Krugs instead.
Akaadian knows where LirA is now. He's going to be looking to go on a nisqy. We'll see if they can get anything, but not going to happen.
A Nunu classic, run in for a snowball, but nisqy able to play back far enough. Not even that happens.
And LirA has been taking away a lot of these camps. I mean, this is getting tough for Akaadian if you fall too far behind as far as that goal goes, as far as the camps go, because Nunu as a jungler is supposed to succeed by putting pressure on their opponent by taking jungle camps away, and if you can't do that, it does get pretty rough. Yeah,
instead of stealing away his own camps effectively just to make sure he gets the bulk of the gold and XP. And now nisqy level 6. Ooh. I think that one worked out. As Damonte actually goes down. What a calculation from nisqy. Ults and gets first blood.
Yeah, nisqy able to take down Damonte. Did not opt for an early Negatron or anything like this. Had a bit of a more aggressive buy and now picks that up. And he's gets shredded. They're going for the dive top side.
No, Brandini in trouble, but taunts one through. LirA, though, able to grab the execute.
Really nice dive there from EnVy. They get first blood in the mid lane and a solo kill. And now able to dive out of that Shen. That's kind of what I was talking about, this 2v1 and 2v2 topside. So let's see this kill again. Yeah, just hits a full combo, scatter the weak, followed up with that W, and then they can just set up the dive top. Brandini has been chunked out, and Seraph has ultimate. Elise is back up here again, so able to go for a pretty easy dive. Simply started off with the Cataclysm, locked in. Brandini unable to actually dodge. And LirA fighting on bot side again.
Oh, look at Cupid, a good double stun there from nisqy.
Gen ult coming through.
That's not enough. Absolute zero popped and not needed. Gate flashing over as he gets exhausted by Hakuho. Drake's going to do a bit of extra damage. Nice presence of mind there from Hakuho.
Yeah, really good job there from Hakuho. And they're able to get a kill onto Akaadian, who is getting put pretty far behind. Plus, we just saw Brandini expend his first ultimate on Shen to no effect, right? And that feels really bad as a Shen because the level 1 cooldown is quite long, over 3 minutes on that first cooldown, 3 minutes, 20 seconds, and he has no CDR purchased or anything like that. So now all the playmaking is gone from Shen. He's behind in lane, he has no TP, and you're kind of locked into this lane of misery.
Yeah, you can see LirA just getting further ahead, moves in, steals away the blue buff, and also nisqy has been the benefactor of a lot of early gold with 2 kills to his name and almost a completed Morellonomicon. And for me, I was checking before, I'm like, that's a really thin margin that Damonte died by before, and nisqy's doing something that I've only seen one other player do. Yes, Storm Raiders Surge on Syndra, which I'm not sure if it's a thing yet. I haven't seen too much of it, but certainly call me interested.
I think it is becoming a thing, at least. I believe I've seen Caps do it
that's the player I was thinking.
So there are some players who are opting for it. Essentially, the way I see it is that it's much more utility. Like, it can have a really huge effect. But you are kind of giving up some of the earlier kill pressure. Like, having the Thunderlords to really push you over the top can be big. But later in the game, I mean, not only does it give you the move speed, it actually removes slows. So that's something to keep in mind. And when you're fighting against someone who's pretty annoying and applying slows like the Nunu, if you hit one combo and the Nunu snowballs you, you actually just zoom out of there like instantly. So it can give you a lot of safety, a lot of teamfight movement, and in combination with the Ghost, it makes quite some sense.
Certainly does. Kind of fun to see things mix up, but I mean, nisqy pretty fresh from EU solo queue, so maybe picked it up just before the move.
I mean, I just think it's one of those options that can always work. Like, any champion who can reliably proc Storm Raiders can use Storm Raiders. Like, it can be good. Just generally speaking, people are more concerned about getting that first kill to snowball, and that's what Thunderlords kind of helps you do more.
Well, great little bit of pressure from LirA. Still looking at mid lane. Package burnt for Damonte just to defend himself, as LirA was there with a nice gank timing. Still has flash and cleanse up for Corki, so an unlikely gank target, but LirA is just exerting his will on the Rift right now. He's got blue buffs that he keeps stealing. He's zooming around the map with Moby Boots and just constantly poking in and looking for pressure.
Yeah, I mean, goes in, clears out a pink ward, drops a ward, applying more pressure mid lane now. They get the cleanse, so that's something that they can repeat.
Step 1, get the cleanse off. Step 2 is going to try and get the flash, or if they land another stun, won't even need it. Should be able to kill Corki, even through the Hex Drinker that Damonte respectfully has now purchased. So, kind of running into trouble here. Syndra is so good at pressuring lanes when she is ahead. And thankfully for nisqy and his jungler able to get himself ahead nicely as EnVy looking for an arrow.
Let's see if it connects. Looks like it's going to.
Oh, very nice. Tahm Kench moving up as well. Combo moving out. Damonte does have enough health. Apollo leaped forward to try and get in. Yeah, Hakuho actually moved him in with the Abyssal Void, and now we got to book it. Nunu chasing him down. Hakuho able to tank the next few turret shots, and now Akaadian's actually in trouble. nisqy on a killing spree barely snaps him for the last one.
Storm Raider Surge zooms on out. There you go. Gets the kill. Nicely done. A bit of an overdive at the start, but Akaadian, he's not that tanky. He just now purchased up that Cinder Hulk, so he has some HP at least, but he's not the tanky Nunu you're used to and does get burst down. EnVy kind of exerting their will on the map.
And it's kind of just bleeding out everywhere at this point. Seraph still up and ahead. He's actually 25 CS ahead of Brandini. Brandini looks to farm up that wave. LirA just everywhere, and mid lane also with a nice little CS lead. I mean, Gate very late to that roam. I mean, it's kind of hard to outroam the Tahm Kench. But EnVy with a really nicely set up dive. All into ult combo here, but not the one you might expect from these two.
This almost is like Season 1 throwback. The Ashe shoots out the arrow and then teleports onto the arrow and kills them. They're just utilizing the Tahm Kench as the teleport. So pretty cool stuff actually from EnVy, really well synchronized. And then Akaadian's like, hey, maybe I can kill him. The turret shots are actually doing a lot of damage here. And nisqy procs that Storm Raiders, zooms on in, zooms on out. Nicely done.
And actually solo pressuring this turret with all of the action that's happened in this mid lane. It's got about a quarter of its health left at this stage. Wouldn't take too much, and I think at this point Damonte, who wants to be leaving this lane whenever he has the package. When we saw the last package, he lost it because LirA ganked him.
I mean, he's kind of just locked into a farm lane. It feels like that's pretty much how it feels for Xbox.
That's the Corki special.
Oh my god,
what a combo! Extra going to keep him alive, but LirA with a flash cocoon barely extends the CC chain. Akaadian going to pop the absolute zero. Repel out there as nisqy flashes out of the W. Gate didn't have his ultimate. Now Akaadian forced to flash away as Seraph TP's in. Brandini's also joining the action, but the mid lane is already dead, and EnVy going to take the mid turret.
Yeah, Akaadian had to flash there, had to get out. The Shen ultimate also burned, so I mean, it's so much expended all in defense. And you know, in Champions kind of talked about whoever engages first, whoever is a proactive team is the one that could have the advantage here. And Xbox has not been able to do anything proactive at all. I mean, we're 12 minutes in. They're coming close to like being 5K down. This is getting pretty ugly for Xbox. It's kind of like hard to see what their way back in is. And so much credit to Apollo. He's just hitting arrow after arrow. They have control of the vision in the river. There's no wards to help spot that out. And then LirA flashing in. They finished it off. nisqy does get tagged by the absolute zero there. Takes a fair bit of damage. But Akaadian, he has to run. And bailing out there as the Shen Stand United comes in is a rough spot to be in. That kind of speaks of the miscommunication. It's like either Shen wants to ult in and you fight, or you just flash out and he doesn't use the ult. So that's both ultimates now from Brandini to really no effect.
Yeah, and again with top laner being behind and the jungler, which are really the front line for Fox. 3 kills onto your Syndra with Sorkshoes, I'm sure, coming soon. nisqy is set up to take over this map, and it's only 1 turret over to EnVy as well. I mean, this pressure is going to keep moving forward. Look how low the top lane turret is, just in the right-hand corner of the screen. And Apollo and Hakuho have been doing plenty of work, even though the 2v2 has been going much more even than they may like, providing so much utility between the Ashe and the Tahm Kench. And Xbox is starting to get backed into a corner at this point. I mean, already this gold lead's massive, kind of just from farm and kill leads alone. Once they actually get objectives on the map as well, and there's been, apart from that first turret, nothing taken off the map objective-wise, because we are kind of still early into it. EnVy are going to have like a ridiculous gold lead, and this game's going to snowball completely out of control.
Yeah, you really feel like it is. It's tough. I just feel like their composition it doesn't actually feel like they can get that much done. I mean, their hope now is really kind of just sitting back and I guess scaling up and farming, because it's like, what really is your playmaking besides, you know, Rakan and Shen and stuff? It's like, yes, you can engage with an RW, but like, you don't have the damage to really follow that up. Tahm Kench is there to deny that. You need to be in a situation where your marksmen are very, very strong and can carry the fights, but Corki is quite behind, was actually, well, still 2 levels down on nisqy. Mash is kind of farming even, but he's not strong enough to get anything done, so it's hard to see a way that they could actually win a fight at all.
Rifttrail going to get taken down. Akaadian can't get in for a steal. That's Brandini and Seraph still doing battle. Seraph winning the early trade, but he does commit his ultimate to apply additional pressure. Damonte back with the package in mid lane though. Might get better use out of this one as he's driving down towards the bot lane.
Yeah, and they're looking to maybe set up this dive. There's 4 men roaming down to bot, but this is a Tahm Kench here to deny. We'll see if they can make it happen.
Hakuho's out of there. He's going to scoop up Apollo and try and save.
No minions.
Heal burnt out. There's the quickness. Charm lands in after the knock-up. Apollo getting rooted. Nice ult from Akaadian, actually gets credit for the kill.
And EnVy is actually coming down, though. We'll see if FOX can get out now. Damonte and Mash are both low, and that's all their damage.
LirA's going to open up. Gate's the first target. Good stun there, landing in onto the Xayah. Mash doesn't have anything else left, I don't think, as nisqy's just trying to pick up kills, but Hakuho scoops up the Elise, who was under threat by the front line. And EnVy get nothing off the back there.
Yeah, they do get the 1 kill, but it costs them a lot. And J4 is pushing in the mid lane. They're going to be able to push up bot. They can threaten some of these turrets, and they're going to actually probably lose more from the minions and the pressure on these turrets than they actually gain, because Rift Herald's going down. Should be at least 1 turret back.
Yeah, so it looks like this bottom adder is going to go down. See if Seraph can get back up to the top and threaten that here. So EnVy, despite losing 1, able to clean up a lot of gold and continue applying that pressure.
I really like the preemptive lane swap here from Apollo, already heading up to the top side, knowing they can knock down this turret with the Rift Herald. So the Echo Fox bot lane is going back bot. Apollo is already going to be top, and there's no real way for Shen to hold that turret on his own when it's already very low as the bot lane arrives. So smart thinking here for EnVy. They should be able to knock down that last outer turret very, very quickly. Don't think that Brandini can really even contest for it.
Now Drake going to get started here. Echo Fox is going to try and trade objectives effectively. But Seraph has spotted them. Going to get a ward down. Apollo working on that turret, already gone.
And LirA is coming, so I mean, EnVy could actually look to fight there as well. I think they will.
Arrow through mid lane.
4 men here now.
Long
this is gonna be bad.
Oh my god! Nails Gate in the bot side.
Oh!
And now Seraph's going to dunk him. Cataclysm used. Seraph in a 1v2 as nisqy's on a rampage taking down Akaadian. Seraph gets the kill. Apollo is on point this weekend. Scooped out to safety. nisqy still chasing a Mash. Oh my god, you better run. LirA on a killing spree.
They get everything. Sure, it's a Mountain Dragon, but they get the top turret. They get 3 kills, and EnVy moving around the map so well. Great Ashe arrow from Apollo. Great ultimate in from Hakuho, bringing nisqy into the fight, and the collapse from EnVy was very good there. They kind of preempted the play quite a bit, knowing that Echo Fox would be trying to go for that dragon. The collapse was just beautiful.
Well, they did get the Drake, but EnVy extend their gold lead to 7,000 up on Echo Fox.
And I mean, the problem with the Mountain Dragon is you have to actually be able to get to an objective to utilize it, right? Like, in what world are they sieging turrets? In what world are they taking Baron? It's so tough for them to actually get anything out of this. This is not, you know, an Ocean or an Infernal or something that kind of just gives them passive utility or strength.
Would we also call that a force multiplier? Potentially, right?
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. Echo Fox are so far behind that the Nunu just can't really do much of anything. Nunu is a fine pick, and I'm not faulting Akaadian for the way he's been playing it, but Echo Fox just gotten behind from a much more coordinated looking EnVy, playing a comp they seem much more comfortable with. And at this point, they can just kind of sit back, farm, and see what happens, because they're at the will of EnVy's pressure right now.
I mean, we're 18:30 into the game. Damonte is not even that close to his Triforce. Like, this is a pretty ugly spot for the Corki to be in. To actually get to that point this late into the game is going to be so tough. I mean, he can buff them up all he wants as Akaadian, but it doesn't really matter. And they're collapsing again on the bot side. Apollo has his arrow ready. We'll see when he pulls the trigger. There, it just got shot out.
This duo has no flashes. Mash is going to get trapped. Featherstorm's out-ish, but now the next stun landing on LirA. nisqy already cleaned up the first kill, and now they're going to chase him for the double. nisqy grabs it again. And it just keeps on happening.
Yeah, they just keep making these collapses happen. Echo Fox is trying to get on the map and do something, but it's just not working out for them whatsoever. Damonte in retreat here. All lanes pushing for EnVy, and they can continue to punish.
Seraph in onto Akaadian. Actually dunks him. Ultimate burnt there for Akaadian. Seraph's like, just keep fighting. Not feeling too much pressure. Brandini moves in, but nice Spirit's Refuge going to block up some of that damage. EnVy, no extra kills, but Apollo working on that tier 2 in the bottom side should be able to scoop that one up.
And they get the Shen ult, right? Like, this is the big playmaking ability across the map. Anytime that's down, you're going to be very happy because it means that there cannot be these extra men showing up into a fight in the bot side, and that's kind of the only hope for Echo Fox is finding these odd man fights, finding a 3v2, finding a 2v1 is really the only way for them to get back in the game, because they're nearly 10,000 gold down now at 20 minutes. Like, this is just absurd.
Well, we'll watch this one again. No flashes here, so not really any hope for this duo lane.
Nice little sidestep from Mash, and he does avoid some of the damage with the Ghost Stormraider Surge. You can see proccing there from nisqy, and he's able to continue to chase very well with it, picking up a quick double kill. And then they force out the Shen ult again topside. Echo Fox has not been able to have a single proactive Shen ultimate the entire game. Everyone has been used defensively to very little effect. Not that it's necessarily on Brandini, but it's just the spot that they're in.
Yeah, and if you look now, just kind of where nisqy's at item-wise, double Magic Pen, Leandry's finished, Morellonomicon, and the Sork Shoes, plus an ADC Large on top of that. He is 3,000 gold ahead of Damonte.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like incrementally, it's like 50% gold lead, essentially, over his opponent. This is not 3K ahead at 50 minutes. This is 21 minutes into the game, where his opponent has 6,500 gold and is down 3K. He's down an entire item.
Yeah, I mean, that Trinity Force still not there, and it's just going to be so long until they can really scale. And that's kind of the thing for Echo Fox and the spot they're in. EnVy just continuing to be proactive, use all of the different pick tools and just pressure Echo Fox constantly and just keep pushing the pace of the game. I mean, this gold lead has ballooned this quickly and this much because of how well EnVy have been playing with their composition. And it's just not stopping anytime soon. In fact, Gate going to dance away from the next one. LirA, oh! All right, Train misses the stop that time, but still more cooldowns coming.
Yeah, good job there by Gate to avoid it, but Apollo sitting on the Essence Reaver has a lot of CDR already, so he's going to be able to fire out those arrows pretty quickly, which will be quite nice for him. And you've got to kind of look at it from the side of Echo Fox. What can they do to get back into the game? That's one of the kind of the things that can be nice to do. And for them, really, it's about a pick. It's about finding these odd man fights. That's what they need to do. They need to be able to get some vision back and somehow, some way, find a fight where, nisqy's in a side lane and you get Shen and Nunu and Corki to collapse on him and get a kill. Like, you need to keep getting these fights, odd man fights, over and over and over, and try to get picks, try to delay the game. Because every one of those kills is going to buy you a couple minutes. Besides that, like, there's no hope of taking a 5v5 or a straight up fight. You must find odd man fights, and that starts with vision.
And it's kind of fun to see EnVy just, again, snowballing their lead. Mostly also of kills. They now have 5 turrets, but still working on a lot of those objectives and just ignoring the objectives for the most part. There's an Ocean Drake in 25 if they fancy a play on the bottom side, and Brand's been hanging out for a couple minutes. Good vision, though, covering for EnVy. I mean, there's a sneaky word for Fox seeing some of that, but EnVy really just have full dominion.
The other thing that Echo Fox could have that could help them get back in is a Baron Steal. And Nunu is damn good at Baron Steals. So I don't blame EnVy for not just starting that up, because you don't want to risk it. Like, if Akaadian can just flash Consume Smite a Baron, that is a way that they can actually buy some time and have some hope in the game. So until EnVy starts stalling out, just keep farming their jungle, keep knocking down their turrets. There's still one more on the map to actually grab. So I don't think there's any real need to pressure the Baron before that, since the way that they're playing is essentially a guaranteed victory, right? Like, it's just slowly choking out your opponents.
Well, right now, again, just kind of getting their waves pushing. There's that Drake we were talking about. LirA just soloing that one, while the rest of the map gets pushed in. nisqy approaching level 16. But Deathcap also on the way as a locket. Just gets finished there for LirA. Apollo with diligent use of the hawk shots as well, able to spot out what's going on there on the top side.
Kind of a funny hawk shot, though, because there's a ward. He's like, I wonder what's here. Let me double check.
I'll look like a genius. Oh, Duncan and Damonte. Does flash out. Can't cleanse out of the Jarvan ulti, so good pressure there from EnVy. Again, just take the cooldown, walk away.
And Apollo probably just want to check out the bush, make sure there's no one camping. So I may as well be super safe about it. I already knew that Akaadian was there, but hoping that it's not a bait or anything. And he may as well be super diligent, right? There's no need to take any risks at this point.
Like you said, what's the one-way Fox find their way back into the game? Someone getting picked off. Apollo doing some side lane pressure, something he does a lot, actually. EnVy starting to time some of those flashes. Only Damonte's lost his, though.
Yeah, they're trying to get Echo Fox to actually come up and respond, and if they walk through here, they're about to get bursted.
I saw some gameplay. nisqy's building up spheres into the brush, but looks like instead arrow into Gate. Follow-up not quite there, but Apollo enough chunk to pressure this tier 2 turret in top lane. The only one left currently for Echo Fox.
Yeah, LirA seems to like to do these tanky Elise builds a fair bit. Some players do kind of prefer them. It is interesting to see that development. EnVy gonna just start up the Baron straight up here now. They have vision on Nunu, they know where he is, but Gate is around. The question is just, can they actually do anything about this?
LirA spotted the support. Baron is actually very low. Quickness there popped in, gets a triple charm and a double knockout. LirA getting eaten up by Hakuho, gonna disengage, but now Brandini gonna come in. Great stun from nisqy, preventing the Shen from taunting, but Damonte here with the Triforce. Seraph gonna take some heat also. Akaadian gonna force nothing just yet, flags and drags away.
EnVy is pretty low, so this does get a little bit of control back on the map for Echo Fox. They don't feel comfortable to try to start this up or anything, but at least they can get a little bit of time to be able to start up pushing those waves, get those shoved in, and pick on Damonte.
Yeah, Damonte going down, Seraph able to take him. Does nisqy have the combo ready? Burns that ultimate to get through the Hex Drinker. Now another ult landing in. Matt dodges it with the Feather Storm. Route onto Hakuho as Gate's trying to book it. Should be able to get out safely, but Baron open up once again after Damonte's been picked off.
Yep, they can just keep looking back, that keep threatening it. They likely will not try to actually complete it, since Akaadian always will have that threat as long as he has this flash up. So that would be a big summoner to try to get away from him, but they can always turn for the fight, and looking for the collapse now.
Yep, nice to see EnVy just kind of use all elements of the map to really apply pressure. I think they never thought they were getting that Baron, but they do get a couple kills, or at least start a fight as a result, even though Echo Fox do a nice job responding and getting some wards down, and almost some kills for themselves.
And it's just so hard for Echo Fox, because they haven't been able to farm their jungle, really, right? Like, that's why the gold lead is just building and building, because EnVy is farming both sides of the map, and they are going to look, perhaps, for the engage. Gate just kind of hanging out in the brush there. Does have his ultimate available, but EnVy moving back towards the Baron again, going to get that vision control.
I mean, Zero Turrets is really rough as well. Echo Fox, I mean, EnVy, again, kind of playing it a little slower, not over-forcing on a lot of these objectives, but don't really need to. Echo Fox don't have any space to really play with. Even if they did win a team fight, they would only get a little bit of gold back. It's not like the game's going to end if you get aced all of a sudden. This is a very comfortable position for EnVy to be sitting in, and just kind of waiting to see what they do next.
At least Echo Fox is hanging on, though. You know, they haven't kind of just rolled over and died. They are trying to play this one out. They are trying to see if they could pull off like a miracle comeback. And if you can keep delaying, 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes, 20 more minutes, the gold lead stops mattering nearly as much. So there will come a point where EnVy is not getting as much of an edge, and can they actually look for a pick here? Not going to have the confidence to do that. Hakuho could respond, and they do spot them out. Could actually look for a pick with Tahm Kench ultimate, but EnVy playing very passively.
Yeah, I mean, kind of interesting to see them just continually build a league rather than be super proactive with it. But again, the onus isn't strictly on them to get too much done in this game's current state. I think just setting their lanes back up again and looking again for the pick. They've got so many in the mid and early games to get them to this point. Just looking for a couple more to try and close out the game.
We can kind of take a step back and just look at the story of these teams, as far as Echo Fox, I feel like is this team that has had these spaces of time where they are very successful, where it's a couple weeks and they're winning all their games and everyone feels like, they finally got it all together, right? And that feels like it has happened a couple times, throughout Echo Fox's history. But it has never really been there as far as consistency. They're a team that has achieved early game greatness. They're a team that has achieved individual greatness. But they are never a team that has really come together and kind of been a great squad, been a great 5-man unit. And they're now trying this new approach, the Echo Fox 10-man squad, where they are trying to integrate and to kind of innovate, I guess, in a way, different practice schedule, utilizing only internal practice and subbing all these members in as EnVy's going to get a free Baron, it looks like. It is spotted, but I think Nunu's too far away.
Yep, took a lot of hard work to get to this point, but they basically time out all the wards, get the lanes pushing in. That is the simplest Baron EnVy will take. Oh, Tahm Kench coming in. Akaadian getting low, but he's got a lot of health to play with. Seraph going to get charmed up and knocked up, but there's Hakuho now going to get charmed up just after he devours one. Seraph on a killing spree, takes down Gate, and Brandini has leapt in for the 1v5, but he is not going to last the night. Goes down to LirA. And now Seraph going to keep chasing. Damonte forced away as the Cocoon just going to miss LirA, but EnVy in for a dive. Akaadian going to pop the ultimate, going to buy some time as the stun lands in onto match. It goes down to Apollo. 3 kills and a Baron, not too bad.
Yeah, EnVy finally spring to action. I mean, getting those 4 kills, getting the Baron, they finally had enough vision control that they could get the guaranteed play. They do execute, and this should be the game-ending Baron. They are insanely ahead. Seraph doing a good job zoning out Akaadian, making sure that there's no chance of a steal, and then the Tahm Kench used very well. nisqy flying in. It was actually a really good ultimate from Brandini and a nice taunt here. Catches 3 members with the taunt flash, it looked like, from Envy, but there's just not the follow-up. The damage is not there to really make anything happen, despite a nice play, and then it's just pretty easy to actually complete these dives, as the only member that has like even really like farm or anything, it feels like, is Mash as far as the DPS, but both Mash and Damonte are just hilariously behind.
Ocean number 2 for Envy is going to pump up that siege power. There is actually going to go back and spend his gold. Looks like the rest of Envy ready to move out on the map and get these lanes pushing. Already burned up minions, causing strife for Brandini. Apollo back and ready to go. 3 items and a QSS plus a Wrath potion. In fact, there's 2 potions on Envy's side right now. They're ready to end this game.
Yeah, and they really should. I mean, they have been 10,000 gold up for like over 10 minutes now. This is such a point of power. You know, you can give them the credit for kind of playing it safe, but at a certain point, you need to be able to end games like this because against really good teams, they will find ways to come back. And Envy want to close out with this Baron. Certainly, they have all the tools to do it. Now we just have to see if they can execute or if Echo Fox can somehow, some way hold on.
Certainly some credit to Echo Fox's defense, but we'll see how it holds up here in the start of the siege. Double stun there, lands in. Arrow gonna follow. Akaadian not particularly tanky, but they're looking for Mash. Huge chunks of damage being dealt by nisqy as that turret falls. Damonte insta-cleanses out of that one, but the turret already dead. Inhibitor gonna fall shortly after, and the slow march of minions continues.
Yeah, just go right down to the bot lane. That wave is being prepped up here by Seraph, and they'll be able to knock down a second inhibitor with no real chance of contesting.
Oh, this unhealthy amount of damage. Kay gonna get knocked up by Seraph after a nice snipe by LirA with the cocoon. 2 inhibs already down. Damonte with the package ready to fly in for what looks like one last mission, because Envy gonna try and end this game.
Yeah, we'll see if Echo Fox even try to go for a fight here. There's the package.
All right, doubles out of there. Ultimate there from nisqy instantly to try and kill him, but it's not quite enough with Brandini taking fire. Seraph gonna flash out of the way. Does actually get shut down, so a little too far forward on that one, but Envy just gonna wait for their minions. Should be able to close out a couple turrets. No, leaving the base. A little scared.
Yeah, may want to try to just reset. They have a ton of gold. That's, you know, fair enough. Can go up to the top side and take the triple inhib. Not wanting to chance anything with this insanely big lead, though I do think they could have probably finished it.
And buffs running out as well, so perhaps that factors into the decision. But tanks are taking unhealthy amounts of damage from nisqy. He didn't have a death cap before, he now has one, and every W is chunking them for just unreasonable damage.
He's like 5,000 gold ahead of the Corki. Like, it's just insane. He's 4 completed items. We see 2 and apart, basically, with the Hex Drinker there for Damonte. Was really, really struggling in this game to be able to get involved. I mean, the whole team has just been put so far down that they have not really had much of a chance to do anything. And this is a level 18 Syndra with over 600 AP at 33 minutes.
I mean, for some additional perspective here, to me, we always use 10,000 gold as that metric where you are monumentally far ahead in a game. It's a clean number, but it is also a lot of gold. If you take away nisqy's lead over Damonte, they're still over 10,000 gold ahead. Like, it is insane the amount, the advantage that Envy have built up, so it's just time to end it.
Yeah, I mean, if you take Hakuho out of the game, they're still almost 10,000 gold ahead, and they could probably win a 4v5 at this point. But they're not going to have to.
Nope.
Let's see if they can close it out.
Arrow gonna miss, but just flies on by.
Oh, there we go. Nice engage.
Looking for a Akaadian with a follow-up ultimate, but I think there's a little too much here for Envy. Fox still fighting, but the front line taking the turret. Brandini pretty healthy in the front side, but he gets stunned up by the Syndra. It looks like Stoneplate wore off, and I think it's all falling to pieces. Damonte, low, exhausted. He's looking to go down as nisqy gets another snipe. Good 3-man route there for Mash, but he gets stunned up by the cocoon once more, and he's going to fall down to the unrelenting Syndra. Last inhib's going to fall, and Envy are going to end the game.
That was a nice last-ditch effort there from Echo Fox. Good engage, but just no damage to actually follow it up. And Envy going to push us to a game 3.
Envy's early game converts into a mid-game, converts finally into the Nexus, falling down. Game 3 versus Envy and Fox coming right up just after we've had a couple more stats. Seraph slapping the Nexus, everyone having fun, and they'll celebrate moving into the final game of the series.
And my big question here, and kind of, is what does Echo Fox do for game 3, right? Like, we just saw a really strong game 1 from Echo Fox. Then we saw 3 subs in game 2. They get slammed. Do you blame the subs? Do you blame the comp? Do you say unlucky and run it back? You know, what do you actually do here as Echo Fox? It's hard to know.
It is, and I think we don't have to spend too much time speculating because we'll obviously find out moving into the game. For me, that top lane matchup did seem a little lopsided. I mean, Seraph got kind of destroyed by Looper in game 1 and then kind of did the reverse to Brandini. I mean, yes,
to be fair, it's Gnar versus Shen, right?
True.
Like Shen is just, to me, so weak right now unless you really do have dominant playmakers and you can always engage and your other lanes are winning, because Shen just has like no hope of winning lanes anymore. I feel like this champion really sucks in the meta, in my opinion. Like there's almost no 1v1 in the game that you win anymore.
Well, we have a lot of questions, so we're going to get some answers. For a deeper dive on that game, let's hand it off to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. You got a lot of questions. Hopefully, we've got some answers for you. We're going to take a deep dive here into Champion Select as Envy picks up the victory over Echo Fox. Let's go ahead and pull this Champ Select up. Remember, this is in the context of the substitutions made from Echo Fox, bringing Akaadian in as well as Brandini and Mash. But we're going to target mostly this Nunu pick. Take it away.
Right. So if I'm Akaadian getting subbed in here, I am livid that this is the situation I'm put into, where you spend 2 bans on junglers early on. They take the Elise and they intelligently ban out the Rek'Sai to get rid of the other early game jungler. And then you take Xayah Rakan because, you know, you want that for your bot lane. That's fine. It's blind. It's pretty safe.
Right.
Then they grab Syndra Ashe. And what this does is instantly makes a monstrous pick comp that's going to heavily target the mid lane.
Right. You know here what Envy's strategy is, right? We don't need to see the last 2 picks. We are very aware what Envy wants to do for the entirety of the game.
Right. And Echo Fox, you know, for the most part, relatively intelligently realizes we need a mobile mid, because otherwise they're just going to die a million times. So they take Corki. It can be a fine matchup into Syndra. Usually you need a different summoner. If you're going to do that, you want something like an exhaust, a barrier. But you have to take cleanse here, just based off the situation. And then during this second ban phase, Gragas gets banned out as well. And so now you are super pinched at the jungler position.
Right.
And you are forced onto Nunu, who
doesn't scream Akaadian to me.
Doesn't scream Akaadian. You don't have pressure in the mid lane. You do nothing against Team EnVy's comp.
Right. So here's the thing, right? Why would you pick a Nunu? What is Nunu supposed to do?
Nunu, for the most part, wants to work with winning lanes to harass another jungler and keep them down.
Right.
And he has a couple good matchups into things like Rek'Sai and Lee Sin. Elise, one of his worst matchups. You don't have pressure. Oftentimes, you want to work and protect the backline. You do have a decent backline to protect, but Team EnVy's comp doesn't need to run through you. They shoot over you. Jarvan will not get affected by Nunu that much. Elise is not affected by Nunu. Syndra is not affected by Nunu. Ashe just shoots the arrow from far away.
Right.
So the Nunu really isn't zoning anything.
Right. So Nunu, already in one of his worst jungle matchups against Elise. Then you pick lanes that disallow him to even get into the enemy jungle effectively because Syndra's got priority in the lane and can rotate easily. And then beyond all of that, it's Nunu for Akaadian. I mean, this is a guy who wants to be a playmaker. Yes, he's admitted himself and been very vocal about the fact that he wants to become a team player in terms of being malleable and being able to do what the team needs. But I don't think this is what the team needs in this situation.
Right. This is just an atrocious draft, and you see them get absolutely steamrolled this game because Nunu loses his flash on his red buff early on. They go and make a play around mid. They go and make a play around top. And then when he goes for the counter jungle, he gets collapsed on and killed. And then from then on, they're just getting destroyed.
Right. So okay, we've established the horrible pick ban.
I'm so mad I lost my earpiece.
Fantastic pick ban from Envy in terms of having direction, right? They have a very clear strategy and they execute on it very well throughout the game. Now let's fast forward to 19 minutes into the game where Envy's going to do Echo Fox is going to do the one thing that they kind of know how to do at this point, and it's try to control those global objectives with the Nunu. You can't do that, though, at this point because you're already behind in gold. And again, the engage potential and the ability to zero out a single person on your team from the side of Envy is too great.
Yeah, and Nunu from behind, he's supposed to be, you know, this unstoppable meat shield, but when you fall behind, you just get bursted down as well. So you're not able to provide this front line. A great arrow from Apollo all the way across the map.
Wow, that was stellar.
Snipes out the carries of Echo Fox while they deal with Nunu, and then they collapse and kill. And there you see that gold graph just from minute 5 almost onwards, it's just constantly increasing.
Right, and this is indicative of an Envy-style game as well. Remember that this was the early game team from spring. They've continued to impress in a lot of ways in the early game here, and it's been for them about establishing that consistency. But sitting at 6-5, perhaps making a case to go to 7-5 here, tied with Dignitas in that top echelon of teams, it will be about here going into game 3. can they close it out cleanly? They got to put something together like this again. I don't want another game 1 out of Envy.
No, and I think you saw Envy in game 2 adapted very well to the jungle focus that Echo Fox wanted to put down on LirA. They intelligently ban out the Rek'Sai and take the Elise, and you basically control dominance of the jungle. The best thing you probably could have taken there is Gragas, which is still not great.
nisqy, oh, sorry. Final point there?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, like, you know, you have to find a way to stabilize the jungle if you're Echo Fox, because Envy's showing that they're adapting.
Exactly. nisqy as well, though, been a stellar performer on this Syndra. We've seen him on a couple other looks, and he's starting to expand that champion pool to have a little bit of diversity in terms of strategy, but specifically on this Syndra seems to be his most comfortable champion, so a great performance out of him. We'll have to see if Echo Fox decide to make any changes again moving into Game 3.
Yep.
We don't have that word yet, but we'll see how they develop into that third game. Envy back on red side, though. Does mean, once again, they're restricted in Champ Select while Echo Fox gets opened up a bit. So how much of these issues in Champ Select do you think Echo Fox can resolve just by flipping sides?
A fair amount of it, because the big issue that you ran into is you double banned junglers early on, and then, you know, Envy kind of read that they were doing it. They made their last ban a jungler as well, and then they take out a ton of control in the early game, and they grab Elise. So now that you're back on red side, or blue side, excuse me, as Echo Fox, you can grab the Elise if that kind of situation breaks out again. But if it doesn't end up in that situation, I think you're going to see Envy try and take a jungler earlier on before it continues to get pinched. So you'll probably see double junglers taken in the first rotation.
Ask and you shall receive. Just got word that Greg, Looper, and Keith will be subbed back in for Echo Fox. So returning to the roster that picked up the win the first time around, back on that blue side. So we'll see if they kind of revert to the same strategy. Don't try and fix what isn't broken from game 1, and we'll see if they come away with the victory. Either way, Envy's tied it up 1-1. We're going to game 3 here in this series. Meet us back here after the break to see if Echo Fox or Team Envy come out on top.